Hi, welcome to the Leadership Lab. Today, we have with us Mr. Satyadev Tiwari, the Managing Director of Walsante Functional Foods and Nutraceuticals Private Limited. Mr. Satyadev Tiwari has had over 18 years of work experience in the pharmaceutical industry. He has been associated with some of the top leadership positions like the CSO at Novartis and the Commercial Director at GlaxoSmithKline Pharmaceuticals. He is also a visiting faculty at the Nursi Monji Institute of Management Studies, Mumbai. In 2017, Mr. Satyadev Tiwari started the company Falsante Functional Foods and Nutraceuticals Private Limited. He is a strong believer of preventive measures more than curative measures, and his immense knowledge about phytonutrients makes him a very strong player of this field. Let us talk to Mr. Satyadev Tiwari, a lifelong learner and a lifelong entrepreneur, to understand his journey in this profession and a few insights about the nutraceutical industry. Uh, Good morning, sir, and thank you so much for joining us at the Leadership Lab. Uh, with this, I'm pretty sure after watching your interview, a lot of students would be motivated and would get a lot of information and good insights about how the industry works, and they would also be able to implement certain thought processes or certain principles that you have followed during your tremendous career span so far. So thank you so much for joining us, sir.
My pleasure, my pleasure.
My first question would be, what is it that you do exactly at the organization, and how do you run the shows?
Okay. So thank you very much, Pranav. Uh, 19th of July 2017, I founded this functional foods and nutraceuticals company in 2017, July. This is a very, I would say, focused and specialized uh, perspective which we had built into it, that this is actually a functional food and nutraceutical company. So my job there, as you said, what do you do? So after founding the company, honestly, what all has to be done probably has been a pretty long list. And so right from institutionalizing this, uh, and then actually we commercialized 2 years back. So our products are in the market, and so you know that with regards to any new company, and we are a DPIIT, certified startup by the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. And so our one of our innovation actually has been in the area of muesli, wherein we had tied up with Amul milk, and we provide that muesli along with milk, bowl, spoon, and all that in a one box. So we got rewarded by the FSSAI. So we all actually, so this journey has been like for the last 2 years. I'm quite, of course, my 24/7 is devoted to Volsante. So right from, so I am the chief medical representative. Initially, I was the person who had to work out the plan and identify the opportunities. Now I got later a good team. So we work with them, and right now we are all trying to deliver that big purpose to bring full health to society. So Volsante actually is a German word, so it's pronounced as fall. So fall means full, and sante in French actually means health. So we believe that pharmaceuticals alone, and I actually do very confidently stand by what I'm saying, that pharmaceutical alone does not give full health. It just deals with illness. It deals with how to manage disease. So at Volsante, we started this organization, and that's where actually my day and night are going in, creating new product ideas, ensuring that we commercialize it very well, and we reach out to the people, create awareness around it, and actually make people go towards a much healthier, much natural, tastier option also of how to deliver full health. So I can share with some more details later. Yeah, so
Certainly.
that keeps me busy. That's how it is.
Uh, that's a very nice overall, and this gives an overall application of whatever we have learned in our management or our college days and everything. So it might be a very satisfying profile, to be very honest, that you are able to play a role in every department as such, and executing it as well.
Pranav, today, honestly, no, when I was working in the industry, we used to compartmentalize them as departments. But
Right.
today, actually, there are only two functions. One is finance and other is marketing. And that's how I think our management gurus also have been telling this, that so it's all about how to create finance and manage finances, and also how to market it well. So as of now, everything is centered around our consumers, our customers. So yes, I mean, it does give a very satisfying moment many times, that when you realize that your customers or your consumers or your patients have told their doctor that they took our product, and then they felt good about. I think that is the biggest satisfaction, biggest reward of any journey that you are undertaking.
Very true, sir. Sir, so in this industry, what is the current scenario like, especially considering the COVID era? How do you see a nutraceutical industry growing in India? And what kind of growth opportunities are available for the students if they wish to enter into this domain?
That's a very good point you raised, Pranav. Actually, if you look at the functional food and nutraceutical industry, and let me first define that industry so that it is not misunderstood. So when I say functional food and nutraceutical, I'm also including a lot of healthy staple diets also, which may include the flour market as well. So functional food, functional beverages, and nutraceuticals, if you take this entirety, roughly $23 billion market in India is expected to grow in another 3-4 years to 30-31 billion dollars, which will be like a 40% increase. Now, this was the data before COVID. This was the projection before COVID. Now, COVID-19 has disrupted all forecasting like anything, as we all know. So you might be wondering that this 40% growth actually will come down, like every other industry has been impacted, particularly aviation or hotel and tourism, and lot many industries. But it is not going to come down. Rather, it is going to go up further. I'm much optimistic and positive about this industry, because health now, as such, which was health is wealth, you have heard a lot around all that. People have been freely saying health is wealth, and they hardly care about it because they're after the wealth, and then they lose the health. So the real true sense is COVID has given them a shock, and it is actually it's dispelling all that myth. And now in the coming time, I feel, and not only I feel, even Nielsen survey says that 56% of the consumers, they are going to increase their spending on health related products, particularly foods and healthy foods. Now, yes, it has impacted people's earning like anything. Their spending has gone down. Surveys globally say that there is a survey of risk managers, some 347 risk managers globally say that 500 million people are going to be actually put into poverty in doing because of COVID. And despite all that, if Nielsen survey says that 56% of the consumers are going to increase their spending on health foods, it only means that they are going to draw that money from some other place where they were wasting earlier, and actually going to increase their allocation towards health food in their reduced earning now. I think that's a good sign. Now, if you look at the trends, really, I think in our country, we are a growing and graying population we have. It's growing and growing both actually, because even the children, I mean, the birth rates, they are still, I mean, quite okay. I mean, if not, there has been a slight reduction, but if you look at actually the other parameters, like people are aging, the affordability has been going up. Certainly, the economical scenario is not too gloomy. I don't really feel so depressed. I think this will just get over. We have seen the times of Ebola, SARS. There are so many 5-6 different viruses that kept coming. Yes, this kind of an impact was unforeseen, and we also don't know whether this will not repeat itself. I mean, as long as there are certain countries on the map of this globe, they will certainly keep doing their service to the humankind, and they will keep sending some viruses. For what interest, we don't know, but then certainly. So the question is people are now realizing, and I'm making actually a very important point, particularly for the attention of all the pharmacologists, the B farms, and those who will study M farm later, or in any research or medicine. The point I'm trying to make is people have realized that even in today's world, you are still searching a vaccine, a pharmaceutical industry, which has been $1.5 trillion big industry, a lot of big interest groups. They move the nations, right? And they are still searching for a vaccine. By the time the vaccine will come, the virus might have mutated. It might have changed shape, or even if they come, whether it will be really useful, or by the time there will be a new virus. So the question is, you have to go back to your old wisdom, and all the pharmacologists, I am actually posing you a question that if you have a choice to deal with a disease, are you going to depend upon the pharmacologicals of the synthesized chemicals, small molecule, big molecules, biologicals, whatever you call them as? Why are you not focusing or putting your attention towards phytonutrients? I am saying about phytonutrients, plant-based nutrients, which we in Volsante have resolved to deliver it to the society through two routes: one functional food and other supplementation. Because Pranav, if you really observe, there are many diseases that happen because of malnutrition. Let the pharmacologist ask this question: why the disease itself? Why do you get diabetes? Why do you get CVDs? I mean, don't spend your time in managing and treating the illnesses. You will be spending your life. Pharma companies will be happier, of course, no doubt about it. They are minting money on that. I'm not denigrating, I'm not disrespecting, with all due respect, with all appreciation for those magic pills and all those antibiotics which they have found. Everything is fine. But what I'm only trying to say is, as India, we must connect to our past. There is a lot of wisdom. I'm not talking about that you find Sanjeevani Booty like what Lord Hanuman did, but at least you know that Sanjeevani Booty had worked. And today, nature has created its own mechanism of treating you. It has also created a mechanism of that you don't fall sick. If you fall sick, then there is no option. But why don't you take those preventive measures? So what we are doing is that actually we have created such systems, such products which are tasty, which are nutritious, and they are going to deliver full health to the society. And therefore, our focus is not only managing illness in a much subtler, body friendlier way, but also to talk about wellness and fitness. Because there is no point if you, so if, can we say that we are healthy because we don't have a disease? I think you are healthy only if you are mentally well, if you are happy, if like how you are smiling now, is that smile appears in the first hour of the morning? Are you fit enough? So I would say illness, wellness, fitness, all three have to be taken care. Holistic healthcare is the need of the hour, and COVID has just taught us a very, very bitter lesson in the most, solid way. And we must take a leaf out of this. And therefore, also I am urging actually. See, there have been a lot of financial vested interest groups and nexus actually, that how our alternative system of medicine has been relegated. People actually disrespect, or rather they don't look at it in that high esteem if you are an Ayurvedic doctor. Why so? Isn't it? So I'm only asking, okay, pharmacology guys are going to study pharmacology, please do study very well. I'm saying keep your focus and attention on phytonutrients, because I'm giving you one example. If anybody has any doubt, I think they should know this. Any patient who is taking bisphosphonates, which are used for osteoporosis, their magnesium levels deplete. The students should read about what magnesium depletion actually causes. Magnesium deficiency, hypomagnesemia leads to. It is responsible for n number of diseases in your body. While you were treating your osteoporosis by bisphosphonates, alendronate, zoledronate, residronate, pamidonates, and all those dronates, they droned you, and then you got magnesium deficiency, which is going to lead to another 10 diseases, and you are happy actually and spending money on that. You are spending your GDP too much of that on the healthcare, which is not, it's a wasteful thing. So we are working on magnesium supplements, which if you take, actually it will keep you healthy, including you will have a very good sleep quality. So I just summarize that, since you actually raised that question and I a little bit overflew in my emotions, I want to tell you that market is going to be splendid. So those who are in the commercial business and interest this area, then they certainly need to rejoice. We all need to be happy because our uh, I would say propensity towards preventive healthcare and supportive healthcare through much better non-chemical approaches is also going to go up, and therefore FSSAI has released its guideline on its COVID section on its website. There are a lot of reports actually which talking about that it's going to be growing very well. So I hope and I wish that we all learn and take care of our health much better now.
Absolutely, very true, sir. Uh, and so once, as in you being in this particular field, if a student wishes to enter this industry, what kind of attributes or skill set would, as a person, you would want your employees to have? That this is the kind of skill set, or this is the personal attribute that I would like to have in my employees, and I would like to hire such people. So, what kind of skill set is expected by the industry from the students?
Uh, if I respond to it in two parts, one is that in pharmaceutical industry, what kind of skill sets are needed? If because the students are B farms or M farms later, uh, or if I talk about the business which I was describing about my company, which I don't call as pharmaceutical, I call it as actually phytonutrients through food and nutraceuticals. The industry requirement does not change much. I think what is expected of students is that old age saying no, knowledge is power. So the fundamental thing is that whatever they are learning, they should learn it well. So they should have knowledge, and believe me, knowledge is truly power. It is actually power. It is not just for proverbial saying. So that is one I would say, and when this question came and we were talking about earlier that a lot of companies had withdrawn their offer during COVID and the summer internship and all that. We visualized this summer internship program and we named it as Valsante Internship Program, VSIP. So in SIP in finance parlor parlance is called as a systematic investment plan. So this is like a very systematic investment plan or Valsante internship program. So we actually, what the question you just raised, Pranav, rightly, we started building that into our curriculum. Uh, I could have shared my screen, but if it's comfortable, is it okay if I want? We can share that with you.
Absolutely, absolutely fine, sir.
Okay.
I'll just.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you see that, Pranav?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is what I was talking about. So Valsante internship program. And I mentioned to you briefly that what kind of products we have. So for the attention of the pharma students, basically this is what I'm mentioning about functional foods, functional beverages, and nutraceuticals. So we have a muesli which has DHA. We have an algal calcium which is vegan calcium. We have protein biscuits, protein shake, and we are also the first company to launch protein and fiber water. And we have a long list actually of nutraceuticals which are going to be beneficial to maintain good health, right? Now when we were dealing with these kind of products and this question came that what kind of skill sets our students need, I thought let us create a program in which we can offer these skill sets in practice to them. So if you ask me to summarize, so far people have been focusing on know that means a theoretical knowledge. They just need to know and remember that, right? So they would ask, okay, what is the mode of action of maybe NSAID? Okay, or I mean, it's more about learning and remembering things. I would rather say that while know that is important, yes, of course, you should also know the know-how. That is a skill part of it. And above both of these things, actually, what we are focusing in our program is knowing in action. So knowing in action is like that we are asking them to practice more digital marketing in these days. Because again, I will say that COVID-19 is a situation where you are still not able to see the face of your doctor, or at least he doesn't want to see your face. So both are trying to avoid each other. So in that situation, do you lose the connection? No. So there's a digital approach available. So I think digital payment, digital marketing, again, digital also would never have got this kind of a push thanks to COVID for that. So one skill set which I would say, no, what we are trying to deliver through our VSIP program to the students is that we are giving them live projects to work on our brands, and they create strategic marketing plans of those brands. We teach them what is strategic marketing, different than marketing, and they actually learn about digital marketing. And we have invited a good forum, and this is what actually in short we ask them to go, move their level up. So from knowledge to comprehension to application to analysis to synthesis to evaluation and finally creation, which means it is actually you learn, you do, and you deliver. So in this 2 month time, they learn, they do it themselves, and they do it in such a way that they can see and monitor their own result of action. So what we have done is we have invited a lot of people from the industries. There are who's who types. So there are various. So we have actually created a faculty of around 14 people to serve 43 students. So
Wow.
like our faculty student ratio is 3:1.
Right.
And they all
Right.
are experts in their field. So somebody will teach digital marketing, somebody will talk how to create campaigns, somebody is a marketing expert, one is a BD expert, all those things. So these are the people who are actually, one of the good, very good experience base, is an ex-Harvard guy also here. So all these people are now doing it free of cost
Wow.
to these students, and actually we are asking them to learn from them. So we have made some teams like this, and we have a timeline and all that. So anyway, that was it. Maybe I can share something else when you
Certainly. It was
want
great to
to
see
ask
Salil
anything.
sir on board, rather.
Yeah, Salil is there.
He has
Right.
a huge student fan base.
Yeah. Salil is my ex-colleague, old friend of Novartis, and then in GSK we were there. Yes.
Great, sir.
Yeah, so I think I could answer you satisfactorily that the skill set, I forgot to mention that they must not miss communication skill above all. So
Right.
whatever knowledge is power, you know everything. Uh, if you can't communicate well, so I think it's important how to use oral and written communication. I think they can learn it from you well. You are uh, a good person, and you can maybe
Thank you, sir.
coach them on that.
Yeah, we do have our personality development programs. We have certain soft skill trainers who visit our branch and guide the students on certain parameters of interview etiquettes or things like that, where they can actually express themselves a little more in a better way than what they would usually.
Okay.
Uh, so, as entering into entrepreneurship would be one of the biggest decisions of your life. So, if you could tell us what encouraged you to take this decision and what resulted in the emergence of the company that you're running right now.
Pranav, if I had my way, I might have been a spiritual practitioner, not doing anything, because that is actually not only a good thing to do, but also one of the good businesses. So, but and I had very diverse interest areas. I used to write poetry, used to participate in mushairas. I have written in Sanskrit hymns. Uh, and then but I mean, like typical from north, you have to be educated well. So I did my engineering, I earned my gold medal in BTech, and then I did my management and got into a job like every person does. So got into pharmaceutical industry with Novartis for 18 years, then with 3.5 years with GSK. I always actually, you asked me this question, what actually led to entrepreneurship? Honestly, this entrepreneurial is it's actually a bug that sometimes is latent in your body. It remains there, and one day it will start biting you. So 2005, I had formed already a pharma company called Satvik Pharmaceuticals Private Limited. That is around 15 years back. But again, many times you are in your comfort zone, and there are people who will not encourage you, but actually they will ask you 10 very wise questions. And those questions will be such that you will not have an answer to them, or you might start rethinking. And then you fall prey to their approach and you say, okay, I think let's not do that. So I formed it, wound it up also in no time. Didn't start that. Then in GSK, after so around when 22 years had passed after in GSK, I came across, one organization, and that organization actually had started in functional foods. And that was the time I was also visiting Nasi Monji as a guest lecturer. Late Professor Tarun Gupta sir was there. He has a great role in my, much impact in my life. So he won, and the students of my Nasi Monji, very beloved students. So I started, I was taking classes there, and we started discussing this subject. They started doing some projects, and something started getting born out of that. So I give a lot of credit to Nasi Monji, Professor Tarun Gupta. He even actually took me personally to Uday Kotak twice. Uday Kotak was his student actually at Jamal Bajaj.
Okay.
And I visited him along with him. And the students started working. I was trying to find out some finance option, all those things happened. So really speaking, what inspired was nothing but like, now you tell me what is the motivation behind it? The same thing which I tried to describe in the early phase, that I was actually sick of selling medicines. Because I was realizing, and I have seen some of the 2, 3, my own family cases who had very dreadful disease, and they took the medicines which were costing 1 lakh rupees or so, or 87,000 rupees. I remember 10 years back. We spent money, we couldn't save them. And when I realized that we are doing it to so many other patients also, maybe the survival rate is low, you can't blame the medicine. But the point is, no work is happening on not the disease, to subside, or rather not even allow it to happen. So prevention approach was more proverbial than practice. And therefore I was thinking, and I was learning about functional food. We created a project actually with NIFTEM at Sonipat, which is National Institute of Food Technology, Engineering and Management. A very good course they offer. Their dean is my classmate, Professor Ashutosh Upadhyay. So we were trying to develop a bread which is actually more highly proteinaceous, much healthier. So all the medicines probably, and then a muesli. So we created a muesli at there and a bread there. We launched the muesli as India's first muesli with DHA. And that was the first concept of food as medicine, because we had plans later that we give you products which you eat as your staple in the morning breakfast. And later on, you don't have to take medicine as food. You should just enjoy your food as medicine. So with that actually interest, this journey started. Then I kept on getting a lot of people like Girdhar Balwani. You saw him on the forum. Deep Bhandari, Vinod Tripathi, Pradeep Srivastava. A lot of actually people from different walks of life, industry, they started joining me. So today we got a very good, robust team and people on the board. So that's how it is.
Great, sir. Sir, I'm pretty sure all this journey would not have been possible without certain ethics or certain principles that you would have strictly followed during your entire career. And as you sometime back said that you would also have ventured into maybe say giving holistic, or I am not getting that right word, as you said, into
Holistic health.
preaching. Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. So what kind of certain ethics or principles that you were very closely attached to throughout your journey?
This is the toughest question you have asked.
Right.
What principles or ethics do you follow? So honestly, I'll tell you, I was also upset with a lot of unethical practice in the industry before. And I resolved that I will not resort to it. I will not be compelled to do that. And we created a model based on that. We respect the Tatas of this world who have stood with the business ethics as the highest thing to do. I am aggrieved and pained, and I have no shame to tell you that the word out there actually does not demand ethics from you. It does not demand ethics from you. Nobody. Rather, if you are so too ethical, I think then better people will tell you go back and be in an employment, don't get into a business. Yes, that is absolutely true. And it pains at times, and at times it jolts you also to start rethinking whether what ethics do we talk about. And I think that is the true test of ethics, because you test your ethics in the tough times, not in the easy times, right? So if you ask me, I would only just tell this: just be truthful. Be so the most important thing for me is to have a noble purpose, and passion, because passion without purpose is a useless thing. A lot of people are passionate running around the road, and I mean, okay, they might have their own passions, but with again due respect, all that. But I certainly come across one statement people say, you live only once, which I don't believe in. You would have heard this, you live only once.
Yes,
I don't
certainly.
believe in that. Actually, don't live only once. That means you don't believe in your punarjanma or the recreation. Actually, you live forever, or if never. So you do something that you live forever. Have you forgotten Chandrasekhar Azad, Bhagat Singh and all? Did they live only once? They also could have taken the same path. So I'm asking the student fraternity, particularly student community, please find at your early age a purpose. Look at Swami Vivekananda. He didn't live a long life, but he will be known forever. So don't say that let me enjoy. Don't say that it is my life. I think this Western thought really has to be killed. Your enjoying life is fine. Don't be always a seeker. If you have to seek knowledge. Try to be giving mode. What can you create? I think unless you create this kind of a mentality, you will not become Japan, right? You will become Sudan for sure. So I'm saying it is important that you inculcate ethics and purpose. That's very important.
Absolutely, sir. And so, when it comes to reading, like when it comes to self development, because many times we do though say that experience is the best teacher, but so certainly we can develop ourselves through reading as well if we do not want to wait for all the experience to teach us. So if you could like to recommend certain self development books for our students, if they can read them and maybe perhaps get some better knowledge to implement.
Actually, as I go through your questionnaire, Pranav, I appreciate your structured and such a nice flow of asking things, which is actually trying. I'm myself discovering. As you are asking me, I'm self discovering. You asked me about books on self development. I would say consider both areas, self development and professional development. Both are interrelated also. But when it comes to professional development, first, let me tell that if somebody who has done BPharm wants to get into marketing, must read the book on marketing warfare. They should read the book on Blue Ocean Strategy. I have read and I really found that very good. Uh, if you talk about self development, and I was just telling you that, I mean, I might sound like a old school thought, but I'm also quite modern, and in terms of technical, whether it is gadgets or whatever, it does not mean that you should forget your past. And I was telling that my initial interest was actually towards preaching. I have preached in temples, in fact, earlier when I was in 8 or 10 year old, to a huge gathering, and I was really liking it. I had a lot of love towards it. Honestly, it's not that I hadn't thought about it, but what I'm saying is, and because of that, my mother taught me a lot of stories around our gods, goddesses, all those books like Puranas, and you know. So I must ask the students, please don't get into too much of a long list of these modern books. There are a lot of authors. They will even pollute your mind. And again, with all due respect, I'm saying, if you haven't read and learned Ramayana, please do that first. Please do. You will find a lot of management lessons from how actually the whole story unfolds. I'm sure you also might be able to remember or connect with a couple of incidences. Look at what kind of a life he led. I mean, Rama's life in his entire whole life, and that too of the supreme God we call as, has been a life of struggle, has been a life of giving, has been a life of fighting, isn't it? And actually doing good. So I'm saying, what book really will help you self-develop if you haven't read Ramayana? So I must say that, please, my first, and I will send you all a soft copy of Ramayana, which has meaning in English written. I know, because some people might not, so I must say that if for self-development, first read that.
Okay,
Rest,
sir.
there are a lot of books you can Google. I think the world is full of all that. If you have all the time to read, please read. But yeah, but then read from text and papers, not from the mobile much.
Absolutely. Uh, and sir, one last question with respect to this is any message that you would like to give to the students who are trying to make it in this industry, and unfortunately they are in this particular place right now, especially the final year students who would be entering the industry. They are facing a lot of difficult times with respect to jobs and their internships, even the management students for that matter, I'm sure you know. So any message for these guys who want to make it big into the industry, and how can they do it with one, anything that you would like to give it to?
Uh, See, I would say that uh, it is just to have the confidence, and if change is the only constant factor in life, then nothing is going to stay anyway, neither good time nor bad time. Uh, and you will find a lot of stories even on the social media and internet, that how the one of the worst affected students earlier in 2008 and 9 depression time, the US depression, and how they really came forward and created. Actually, this is a time which is like jolting and disturbing everything and asking to create a new order. Now, the person who is awake, alive, and energetic will be able to come up and shine much better than many. It is not affecting as such, it is that you are getting affected. Now, tell me, how many people have got new learnings during these last 2 3 months? How many have done new courses? All that. Did you actually? I have been, from even internal perspective also, we got to do a lot of things which we were not able to do earlier.
Right.
Right. I must actually, give them finally one slok from Gita, which is in the 18th chapter and 14th verse of that, the last chapter. And please just go through that. It is such a wonderful summary of every quote statement that you see. And it starts with that same point I just mentioned about purpose. The shlok says, it says, adhishthanam tatha karta karanam cha prathak vidham vividhascha prathak cheshta daivam chaivatra panchamam. Means there are 5 things. It's actually principle of action. Newton's law we all know, action, reaction, all that. These are the 5 elements of action. Adhishthanam actually means the embodiment, or also you can talk it as a purpose. So I'm asking the students, all the people who are going to hear, please find a noble purpose for yourself. You are affected because you haven't found that big purpose in your life. And don't spend too much. But it's still good to find out the purpose when you are 50, like me, but it's still okay. So adhishthanam means your purpose. Karta, the doer. Karan, the process. So he says that, Lord says that you must have a noble purpose. If the doer is good, right? Karan means the process is great, and keep on changing that process if it is not working out. Look at that solution that he has given there itself. And vividhash prathak cheshta, and the effort. So if your efforts are also of multiple different types, it's like Thomas Alva Edison didn't found that electric bulb in one go, isn't it? He failed 10,000 times and he said, it's not I'm failing, actually I found this works in the 10,001st way. So the point is that I'm urging everyone, please look at that, find your purpose, find your way, keep on trying different ways. And then finally, Lord says, if you're doing these 4 things right, the 5th thing is divine providence, means Daivi Kripa. So that divine providence is guaranteed if you are doing these 4 things right. And finally, I will conclude. Maybe एक शेर आपको सुना देता हूँ कि कैसे आकाश में सुराख नहीं हो सकता, एक पत्थर तो तबीयत से उछालो यार. तो आपको अगर तबीयत लगानी है, एफर्ट डालना, मैं बता रहा हूँ प्रणव, एंड ऑफ द डे Everything is all about your passion, your intensity, but driven by a grand purpose. So find the purpose, put in all your best. This will just pass through. COVID is not that powerful as you. So I wish all the very best and great time. I think we have just uh, come to that time that we should wait for the greatest things to happen.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely. Thank you so much for the answer and very nicely put forth in the end. And I'm pretty sure the students would definitely try to implement that in their professional careers as well, with a very nice purpose if they have on their minds, and with a good effort. And I'm pretty sure they can reach the desired goals, as you have rightly said. Uh,
I I wish you and all them very best for life.
Thank you so much, sir.
Good morning. I'm Ashita Bharat. I'm from the final year of BCom. Sir, I have one question. So, considering the economy of India in a place where people can't afford the cure of a disease, how can they make prevention as a part of their daily life in the form of dietary supplements and food supplements, basically?
Good question, Ashita. I think you are worried about the people below poverty line. And yes, in our country, hunger and malnutrition is the acronym for H&M. You know H&M brand. So
Yes,
that's
sir.
truly in India is hunger and malnutrition. But your question probably India is such a vast country that there are good 64% people who actually are able to, and they are above the poverty line. And okay, there are even a huge amount of number. If you say 25% of the people belong to higher socioeconomic class, or the above average, or above the higher upper middle class societies. So prevention is certainly in reach of many millions of Indians. Point is not whether it is, the question is not about reach. I don't think people are not doing all those good practices to prevent. It is mere because that they are tempted towards taste. So when I say malnutrition, Ashuta, there is also a malnutrition available in our society. There are, so don't believe that malnutrition is only amongst hungry people. It is not a question of quantity, it is also about quality of nutrition. So there are millions of people who can afford, but they don't want to. Either they are tempted, they prefer taste to nutrition, and therefore they must be aware that prevention has a big role to play. Don't you think you and I actually all need to take that course ourselves first?
Yes, sir.
I hope I could answer you. Or
Yes, sir, you have answered me. Sir, there's one more question I'd like to ask. If in the future I want to get into starting into a nutraceutical company, how many years of industrial experience or like the qualification will I require prior, and in which field basically?
so I just told you that you need only a purpose and a passion. I think experience is something that, if do you think that by working somewhere that experience will come in starting a company? Probably not much. Yeah, there is like statistically, one can argue that it is experienced person is better pitched to start than a non-experienced person, but that's not a law. You know Ritesh Agrawal. Oyo.
Yes. No, sir. Sorry.
So he is, I think, still under 30. He is the richest billionaire. Oyo, have you heard about Oyo Homes? Oyo Group?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Just check the founder.
Good morning, sir. This is Disha
Good
Malik.
morning, Vishnu.
Yeah, sir, I have one question that Calgat XT, which is one of the booming products of the company, contains vitamin D, so which is known to enhance the immune health and build a good defense against respiratory and viral infection. So, can this product be recommended as an immunity supplement for COVID-19?
Oh, thank you very much. You actually pleased. It is nice to hear your brand. Calgal XT has become one of the most favored and beloved product, being 100% vegan calcium. And you rightly picked the point. It has vitamin D3. And let me tell you, it has 60% more vitamin D3 than other supplements in the market from big MNCs. Like we have 400 IU versus 250 IU. So this provides 100% RD of vitamin D3. And there are a lot of papers and clinical trials which talk about vitamin D3's immunity boosting effect. We actually have started promoting it. And again, as I'm saying, COVID has actually taught us to promote that. No, everything is being now talked around immunity, 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 right? So yes, we were aware, but we were not so sensitized. So now we are sensitized and we are promoting it for immunity. Certainly.
Also, it is good for diabetes patients also, no? Because it has one vitamin which is inhibiting the calcification in the blood vessels. So
Yes,
even
you're
the
right.
diabetes.
What is that vitamin? Do you remember?
Vitamin K27.
Vitamin
Yes.
K27. Yeah.
Yeah,
It is K2
K27.
DASH.
Sorry.
Yeah, K2. There is
Yes,
K24,
yes,
K27. It is
yes.
again a vegetarian source,
Yeah,
and vitamin K27 doesn't allow calcium to deposit
yeah,
in your
yeah,
arteries. So you have
yeah.
read well.
Yeah, I just
Compliments for
went
that.
through. Thank you, sir.
Good. Yeah. And D3 also has a role in diabetics. So, you know, that's the point I was trying to mention in the beginning. If suppose, do you know 80% Indians are vitamin D deficient? So it's an epidemic of vitamin D deficiency.
Yes, sir.
COVID is one of the pandemic, but vitamin D3 is another epidemic which we are dealing with, not dealing with rather. We are not dealing with it. We are not aware, we don't take care. So I'm saying if you are taking these nutrients initially, are you not preventing yourself? Are you ready to shell out more money? Like coming back to the first question of Ashuta, won't you be shelling out more money? The same poor person has to sell his land to get treated for the disease which he could have avoided. Please believe me, even poor people's diet also has gone wrong. Most of us are eating a lot of maida, a lot of sugar, and then we, you know, 1 in 10 person in India is supposed to get cancer in his lifetime. That is the kind of probability. And are you aware what to eat, what not to eat? We hardly pay attention to it. And then you are saying, oh, allopathy medicines. You please enjoy medicines once you get disease. You have no way, right?
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Good morning, sir and Janvi.
Good morning, Janvi.
Sir, I wanted to know what is the scope of R&D in the pharmacy in the current scenario, and what are the other opportunities for the students in the field?
Scope of R&D in pharmacy.
Yes.
For pharmacy students.
Also in your the nutraceutical industries, food and nutraceutical industry.
Actually, you know, we are trying to rope in some government support. We also have in our program, we are working on something called as maybe plan actually to work on some specialized products in medical nutrition. Now, post COVID, this will be certainly getting a lot of fillip. People will prefer it to the traditional medicines. So the scope of R&D certainly is going to increase manyfold in this area. The only factor which is going to determine that is the diversion of funds and money towards this kind of a work. All along history, money has been flowing to create a big, medicinal industry. It needs funding because you have to conduct trials, you have to create evidences. While I would also say that you don't need to find evidence for everything. FSSAI is very clear. I don't need to conduct a clinical trial for the benefits of tulsi and neem and aloe vera and amla and all that. It is given. And what is the point of having those trials actually, which later on failed after 10 years? They said, no, that trial was wrong actually, or you are taking actually a medicine for some 10 years and you got another disease, side effects. So honestly, R&D is going to get much, but R&D will be certainly, I think, evergreen in this area. In nutraceuticals, more so. In pharmaceuticals, of course, it has established role. The only challenge is that Indian companies have not been, barring some good companies like Zydus and all, no, who came with, vocal for locals. So Saraglitas or Lipaglyn of Zydus. So Zydus Discovery Division, I remember, we did a project on that in Nasimonji. So they are doing R&D, Torrent and other companies, but Glenmark actually is good at that. Cipla, of course. Multinational companies do their R&D, but limited way. So they use this country more for market as a market. And I think people will shift from China to India now. We should hope for that. And therefore, a lot of R&D will also shift. I think time is only going to be brighter. See, after this, uh, trough, the moment is of crest, isn't it? It's going to come.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Lavina.
So, I went through your whole career list, your entire career trajectory. So, it's the order is sort of gold medalist in B Tech, and then you started off as a salesperson in Asian Paints, and it went out to working for Novartis, and then a general manager, and then the final boom, like your own startup. So, was it all strategic in a way, or was some kind of risk factor always involved in it?
I think you should
Taking
join
that.
it, join a TV channel somewhere, maybe. You're asking. So yeah, this is not strategic at all. See, as a young boy that time, when I was doing my BTech in chemical, the Asian Paints was the first company on the campus. So I was the first person to get selected, and I was offered a job in Mumbai, and the job was in sales and service technologies. So my job was to sell industrial paints. So it was not decorative paint segment, but the paints like which are being put on aircraft to reduce friction, to put on the naval decks actually to reduce so that people don't slip. So it was a technical field, but sales was involved in that. Somehow you do require engineers to sell also, because sometimes that selling is little industrial B2B selling. So, and my interest was never, actually, honestly, you are all great people. I was never keen for biology. I could not draw the diagram of cell or that, mitochondria and all that. Rather, I was more interested in drawing faces. So I was more inclined towards marketing and sales. It's just that no, घर में बोलते थे पहले या तो engineering करो या तो doctor बनो. So engineering कर लिया. So this is how actually it happened, and it happens with many people. But every discipline teaches you something. Engineering teaches you a lot. That discipline. Pharmacology teaches you a lot. Whatever field you may choose later, we don't all take courses as per our choice and wish every time, isn't it? Many times parents push you towards it.
Yes,
You
yes.
also might say, I never wanted to do pharmacology, I wanted to do architecture. Right? Yeah.
So, like the point being in this era, especially where the term competition is being used so much, and people of our generation especially are pushed to having a pinpoint vision, like set your goal and just move towards it. Is it okay to at least dabble in some areas, so at least you can find what your true interests are and find your true potential? Would that be okay, or is it
No,
very necessary to just be
no,
straightforward?
beautiful way. Actually, you just answered yourself. Uh, Pinpoint focus. So many times, focus is also a myopic approach. Isn't it focus myopia? Myopia is a disease actually.
Yeah.
So when you are too much focused, you miss the bigger picture also. And when you are looking too broader also, hypermetropia also is bad.
Yeah.
So it is better actually to focus, but then at the same time you must explore your interests. And today's time is no, like these days, even photography or even journalism or anything that is available, and people make money in that also. I think your working stops when you actually are working on your hobby. We all have read about it. So whenever you get to really work on your hobby, so if your hobby is just to talk, then you join some talk show or like or some. So it is certainly useful. uh, I think discovering self, that is the most important part. You discover yourself, that what is it that you belong to. And if you're lucky and you found it, really many times we ourselves don't know ourselves, no, for the whole life. We don't understand what exactly do we like. If I ask you, just write three things that you would like to do in the free time, you might reach out to your phone more often than actually doing those three things,
Yeah, true.
isn't it? So
Yeah.
you said that actually you should really explore, you should find, but then you should be lucky actually to do and find that, and you should be even luckier to be able to allow to do that also. Although there are no more restrictions as much as it used to be in our days, like I mean, particularly is restrictive more for even girls, but these days I think society is much open. We are more supportive. All,
Yeah,
yeah.
true. So one last question. I'm
No,
so
no, please,
sorry.
please go ahead. I'm enjoying talking to you.
So there was a part where you said that in India and over the world, of course, synthetic medicines are being more advocated for. Why aren't we focusing more on developing our diet and then protecting ourselves, making ourselves immune to the disease in the first place. So, do you advocate for a complete shift from synthetic medicines to pharmaceutical, to phytopharmaceutical, or can they exist in a coherent way?
Very nice thing. Very, very good question. So again, as I say, if remember, there was period where millions of people used to die because of plague or infections,
Yes.
respiratory infections and all, and then the antibiotics were discovered as magic pills.
Yes.
Antibiotics did their work. They actually have gone down in the history and they have written a great name. Uh, see, I'm not saying it's one should shun them. I'm not against that. All I'm saying is you will have to deal with disease if you get it anyway. And even in our scriptures, disease is also a part of the karma.
Yeah.
So whatever, howsoever you avoid you don't get corona. If you have to, you will get it somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't know, there are so many different places it can creep into. So when I say about this the phytonutrients, the approach is that if you are doing it, your disease prevalences will go down. The prevalence of the disease will go down. The management of disease will become easier, tastier too, right? You'll not feel sick actually. So you can overcome disease better in a tastier way. And if you are not getting disease, that is even the best thing to happen. And honestly, if there is good enough funding, the only thing that today, see, just ask me. I'll give you one more example. I think you can respond to that. Like say, vitamin B12 deficiency is very prominent amongst vegetarians. And vitamin B12 deficiency actually is one of the reasons, and there are papers that it causes neurological defects,
Yeah.
including that certain people might have persistent anger. Now you can do again from the same scriptures, you can say do some pranayama and all and try to manage. But if you have a vitamin B12 deficiency, it will start manifesting in some time or the other. Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yes or no? So if it is going to anyway come back and haunt you, and you are not, and no doctor is actually, I'll tell you, MBBS courses and all doctors, they are not being taught food and nutrition as much. They don't know. Their pharmacology is not their preferred subject either. Right? They are experts in their own field with all great respect that we have for them. Point is, it is not holistic. So I say that if we have funding, India, we can create a big, huge opportunity to create an industry in itself. See, we are in healthcare industry. I'm not in pharmaceutical industry. I'm in healthcare. That is the purpose. That's what I was saying. If your purpose is to give healthcare, then tomorrow you can use bioelectronics also to give healthcare. Why do you want to create so tell me why so many people undergo the plight of dialysis these days? You can create a pancreas, isn't it? So bioelectronics field is also coming up. So as long as you are in healthcare, pharmaceutical is just one of the ways to deliver healthcare.
Okay.
And the other way which I'm talking about is the phytonutrients. The only challenge which comes is the doctor sometimes thinks it is Ayurvedic and they are disrespectful, and that's unfortunate.
True, sir. Yeah. Thank you so much, sir.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
I believe we have done with all the students who wanted to ask questions. Thank you so much for your time and the knowledge that you have shared with us. I'm pretty sure students have a lot to implement from all your experience and all the information and the learning they've got from this interview.
Sure.
And I hope that we can interact much more in the times to come when we can reach out to more number of students at the same time.
Thank you, Pranav. I compliment you for pioneering this. God bless you all. And my best wishes to all the students, everyone who is involved, connected with you. Thanks a lot once again and all the very best.
Thank you so much, sir. Take care. Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you for watching the Leadership Lab. If you have any questions for our speakers or any suggestions for us, you can email to us on pharmacad.mumbai@gmail.com. And the title of the email should be the Leadership Lab. And we shall try to send your questions to the speakers and get the answers at the earliest. Thank you so much for supporting. Keep watching. Take care.